Hi, thank you for joining us. With us is Julie Fox, the Global Director of Customer Success at Cin7. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for taking some time today to chat. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and your path to becoming a CS leader?
Yeah, happily. So I am Julie Fox. I am the Global Director of Customer Success with Cin7. Cin7 is a connected inventory management software where we work with over 8,500 customers and automatically provide a real-time picture of everything that they make and sell. Our mission is to make product selling as easy as product buying. At Cin7, I lead a team focused on ensuring that our customer success satisfaction and long-term retention, just making sure that our customers are finding value in our solution. And my path to becoming a CX executive, honestly, it was a little bit windy. I had an entire career before making the switch over to tech, but in the last 5, 6 years, I made the switch to tech. And since then, I've grown from an individual contributor to team lead to managing multiple teams to now being a global director where I oversee the entire customer success team at Cin7.
That's awesome. I love how you've grown into the position you currently have. With that, what advice would you have for somebody's first 100 days leading a CS team?
So I feel like so I just made the jump to Cin7 a couple months ago. So I really kind of just made it out of my first 100 days.
Mhm.
And I know as I was preparing, I had all of these spreadsheets and plans and everything. And I looked back at that actually recently, and most of it I've done, but it's interesting how much you learn just by doing the job.
Mhm.
So I guess as far as kind of my how I spent my first 100 days, I definitely spend time understanding the existing processes, the customer pain points, dynamics, kind of the basics of that. I met with key customers to get their feedback firsthand and analyze um, the data of kind of how our customers are doing. I think that's a big thing is really understanding where the team is at, where the customers are at. So any information around customer journeys and segmentation, if that's depending on the maturity of the team, if that exists, or if that's something that you're going to be creating. Um, Understanding the metrics of the business. So not just the CS metrics, but how is the overall business doing? I spent a lot of time with different cross-functional leaders trying to kind of understand what their goals were, how they measured success, because it's really important in CS. I feel like you're kind of at the center of everything. So you're working closely with product and sales and finance and marketing and everyone. And so I think it's really important to understand kind of their goals, understand how kind of you're best going to work together. Because at the end of the day, my success with my team and with our customers is so dependent on the success of these other teams. And so the more that we can understand that and leverage each other, the better. I'd say the most important thing though really is for me was getting to know my team. So one thing that I did was I had individual time with every single person that was in my org. So spending 60 to 90 minutes with them individually to really kind of understand what their short and long term goals were, what they like most about their job, what they don't, what their strengths are, areas that they're looking to improve, things like that. That really helped me from the beginning. That way, then when I was looking at our org chart and understanding kind of who was on my team and kind of who the key players were and everything, I was also able to quickly identify people that I knew could grow into different specialized roles. That was really important because our team, much of the team kind of had very similar roles and they were doing very similar things. And what I found was that there were some really special people on our team that had really diverse skill sets that we really weren't tapping into. And so this allowed me to quickly be able to level up some of my team members and kind of leverage them in different ways, get them involved in different projects. I think when you're a leader, it's less just about kind of what lives in your own brain and what you can do, and really how can you tap into your team? How can you get them excited about where you're going and ask them the questions of, hey, what do you think I should be focused on? Where should we be going as a team? I got incredible ideas and feedback from my team, and so that was really helpful for me.
That's awesome. Now, it sounds like you got a really good grasp on those first 100 days. What does your current strategy focus on?
So it continues to evolve. When I first came in, like I said, there was a lot of work kind of understanding the metrics of the business. With that, there were definitely, I wouldn't say gaps, but there were areas that I didn't have as much insight into. And so behind the scenes, I feel like there's been a lot of work around our data and understanding our customers and what good looks like within our customer base. So that's been one thing that, in order to continue to build upon a really robust, smart strategy, I need the data. I need to understand our customers more and more. And we have tons of information. It's just getting it into a way that we can use it a little bit better.
Hmm.
Um, Product adoption has been a huge focus as well as customer outcomes. Um, as I'm sure you know, there's only so much like when you look at your customer base and you're looking at the key metrics for CS, you have different retention metrics around like churn and downsell and upsell and whatnot. So many of those are lagging indicators, and it makes it hard because it's like the work that you're doing today, you may not see this month, you may not see immediately. And so a lot of what I've been trying to do is balance what are the things that we're doing today that are going to impact our customers today and have a positive impact on them, but also what are the things that we should be doing today that are going to help our future? How can we keep getting better and better as time goes on? And a big key with that has really been more of a focus around product adoption for our customers and delivering value, driving outcomes for them so that they can I mean, the more value they're getting with us, the more likely they are to continue to stay and grow with us. So that's been really important. Our strategy is with the number of customers that we have a relatively small, scrappy team. And so a lot of what I've been doing is really working with my team to launch more robust digital and scaled strategies for our customers so that they can get what they need when they need it or before they even need it, before they have
Hmm.
to ask for it, that we can anticipate it. And that's where a lot of that data comes in, is trying to understand and build out more of a predictive model for our customers. So we've been in a heavy building phase in the last couple months. Really, I actually just had my QBR with my leadership team, and it's incredible kind of looking through the sheet of how much we've completed in a relatively short amount of time,
Hmm.
which is definitely a testament to my team. That's they're the ones that make all the magic happen. But it's been really exciting to see how our customers are engaging with all of that. I think they're really excited to be hearing more from us, to be getting more information and help from us. And the key with that is really taking what we're doing and making sure that value is at the center of it. So it's really trying to add more areas throughout their journey where they can get value from us.
Hmm. I heard a few things in that answer I want to tone in on. You said product adoption is a really important metric. You said a lot of your measurements are lagging. So how do you measure the success of your initiatives?
So it depends on the initiative. They're measured in different ways. Some of them are measured by engagement or kind of those like moment in time A/B testing type things where you say, all right, where are we at right now? Let's launch this. And then let's look at where we're at 60 days from now or 90 or look at this kind of down the road. Um, there's other things that are a little bit easier, especially around like upsell, for example. That's one where we've built out quite a bit around more scaled approaches for how we could I take a very small account management team and be able to help more customers. So doing things like one-to-many demos, creating different automated drips so that customers can get what they need when they need it without every time it having to rely on a person to write up every email and send everything over manually. So things like that are a little bit easier because I can not only measure the engagement, how if people are attending, if they're continuing to click on things or kind of going back, but I can also see if they bought something. Like
Mhm.
that's a good way to see that, hey, this is working if previously people weren't and now they are. Um, Again, churn is a hard one because there's definitely things that we can do within the month, within the quarter to do almost like trigger based type things where you can see, okay, there's a dip here or, something's different with a customer so you can kind of attack it in different ways. But there's also things that we can do throughout the journey to kind of anticipate if we see that there's certain trends where customer engagement dips or product adoption or utilization starts to dip, we can start to do more proactive outreaches kind of in those phases before it happens. So that's been a lot of what we've been doing. Again, I just joined in May, so definitely still a lot that we're figuring out what is working and kind of how we're measuring these things. But we always start with anything that we're launching. We do from the beginning try to think through, okay, how are we going to measure success? How will we know if we got there? Like, is this a ongoing thing? Is this something that, we're just, is there any endpoint essentially? And
Mhm.
many of our things we try to build in periods of time where we can look back and be like, all right, at 90 days, we're going to reconvene and look at progress that we've made and iterate along the way. Um, we have a very fast moving team. So typically we don't make it to 90 days before we start iterating, because as soon as we see that something is working, we try to lean into and understand what's working and why it's working. And if something's not working or getting the results that we intended, we pivot pretty quickly. And so
Mhm.
while we build in kind of those guardrails, I just candidly, we end up doing it a little bit faster just because what we're doing is really important. We want to make sure that we don't continue to do something that isn't helping or may have a negative impact. We want to make sure that we are adjusting along the way so that it's helping our customers.
That's awesome. Like incremental improvements, right? And if it
Yeah.
doesn't work, kick it to the curb. What kind of pain points do you have when you're leading a CS team?
Um, I would say one of the biggest challenges is truly kind of, and I kind of started to touch on this, but that balance between the short-term tactical needs and the bigger picture initiatives that you need. So we could spend all of our time reacting to customer needs and dealing with kind of the day-to-day stuff that we need to with the CS team. The problem with that is that, and I've seen this before at past organizations as well, is that you start to feel like you're on that hamster wheel where you're just running and running and you're doing so much, but you're like, am I actually getting anywhere? Am I actually getting closer to what I need to do? And so that's something that I really try to carve out some time and space within either team meetings or kind of within my own schedule and how I work with my managers and whatnot, to be able to make sure that yes, we have to do the day-to-day things, but how can we also think of these in bigger ways of taking like a more scaled approach of, I'll give the example of our account manager. So when she first started, it was like everything was a one-to-one meeting where she's meeting with customers. We just had a huge, like, once in a lifetime type launch with our company actually this week for a product that is something that we can upsell. And
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah,
Ca-
super, super exciting. With that though, the amount of work that went into it ahead of the launch, I mean, this was completely different than when we first kind of built out the account management team, because when we first started doing this, it was like, okay, as we get leads, here's how we're going to handle it. And I was coaching, we're doing pipeline review, we're doing all of that. But it was all very reactive of kind of what do we do once we have it. This time around, we really built out a very robust kind of in-app experience where the customer is able to have different walkthroughs and guides that leads many customers to be able to purchase without needing to talk to us because they get the answers that they need. But then we also built out different trigger-based content and resources so that when somebody clicks explore, when they want to learn more, they get an email from an account manager immediately sending them like, here's a quick video of like kind of a quick walkthrough demo. They also get invited to one-to-many demos or like walkthroughs that we do. So that was something that we knew that we were going to just get this, like, we were about to open the floodgates and we were going to have, I mean, hundreds of customers or thousands that we were going to, that potentially where they could be wanting demos or wanting to ask questions. So we anticipated that by creating a calendar of office hour availability to where we can say, hey, here's our time, sign up for these. And we cover all of the different time zones globally so that they can come in to not only get a really, really well put together demo, but they can also ask questions and hear the answers. But my favorite thing with that is that it really allows people that maybe don't know what questions to ask to hear what other people ask and
Mhm.
hear those answers. And it really helps evolve the conversation. And when I've done this in the past, I mean, it actually has had more success than what one-to-one demos have. And so that's where, and we've done tons of other things, but that's just kind of a little snippet of an example of how we are thinking differently and evolving this in order to um, just kind of change what we're doing in a way that allows us to now, because this person, for example, may not have a calendar full of back-to-back meetings, she's now actually helping me build out the content. She's actually helping me,
Mhm.
like, she's putting on more webinars. She's doing more things behind the scenes to help me build out our 2025 strategy and stuff like that, where typically I wouldn't be able to tap into an account manager in that way because they are so bogged down with kind of their own pipeline and day-to-day type stuff. By creating those efficiencies, by helping out and create a better customer experience in the process, it's also allowed me to lean on this team member in a more strategic way. And so I think that's where it's that balance of what are we doing today, but and like how do we stay on top of that, but how do we also get to a better place? What is the work we can do, today that's going to make our future selves proud or happy
Mhm.
because we made our lives easier. And so that's I'd say one of the biggest challenges, trying to overcome it, but I think it's always going to be a big challenge. Managing
Yeah.
growth is also pretty tricky just because I feel like that's where, as you scale, things that you used to do, you've got to think differently. And so kind of some of those examples that I gave are really important as you're growing at the rate that we are.
That sounds awesome. How do you establish and partner with the C-suite for these initiatives?
That is so I've been lucky in the sense, so I reported directly to our chief revenue officer who recently left to become a CEO. Super,
Good
super
for them.
excited for him.
Yeah.
But with that, that's now allowed me to now report to our chief operating officer and have kind of even more kind of visibility into the overall business metrics and how things are going. But for me, I think kind of building relationships with this C-suite, it starts with clearly aligning the customer success strategy with the broader business objectives. So I need to understand where are we going as an entire business, and then to be able to tie the metrics and what we're doing, the projects we're doing and initiatives and campaigns and all of that directly to these business metrics and numbers. And I think that's something that for me in my career has been really, really important. Typically, C-suite members and executives are very data driven. They
Mhm.
are very analytical and really care about the numbers of the business, and they have to. And so I think that's something that what I can do is speak their language and kind of help them understand what we're doing and how it's going to contribute, but also help them understand areas that we can do more. If there's something that we aren't really fully tapped into that I think is going to have a positive impact on our customers and on our business, it's my duty to really bring those things to them to be able to say, "Hey, we actually put our goals here. I think we can surpass this. I think we can do more if we do these couple things." And so I think being able to help them in that way has been very positive. Helps them to kind of prioritize more time with me because I think that like the more that they understand how CS can contribute to the larger business metrics, that's helped me get more face time with them because now they can come to me with different challenges or different things that need solved and see me as kind of a key member of the leadership group there.
Kind of getting your toe in the door there. I like
Yeah.
that. That sounds
Totally.
awesome. Do you have an example of using customer feedback to improve your company?
Yeah. So we again with the scale of our customers, it looks a little bit different than what I've done in the past. We definitely feedback's super important to us and we gather that definitely as we do meet with customers, but at scale we have to do things a little bit differently. So some of that is building in different surveys throughout the journey to get feedback, either around their experiences, whether that's onboarding or experiences with support or um, a renewal or something like that, as well as like, I mean, we do NPS, we do some of these, like the different surveying kind of throughout the journey. But then the other thing that has really been helpful has been getting more qualitative feedback from different groups. So we have a customer advisory board, and actually are getting ready to launch a second one for a certain segment of our
Oh,
customers.
awesome.
But that's been really helpful because as much as it's night, like I mean, I'm sure you've done many surveys in the past, and through surveys you get certain information. Often you get information about them or certain ideas or things like that, but nothing beats talking to an actual customer and being
Mhm.
able to dig deeper and ask more questions. So, for example, this year, we just had a partner summit recently, which is a big one of our biggest events where we really bring in different partners from all across the world. This year, we brought in a group of customers, many of them from our advisory board or local customers that we were able to bring into this conference. And being able to spend some one-on-one time with them and be able to really ask them and see how they reacted to certain things that we're working on and whatnot, that was really helpful. One thing that came out of that was actually a need for a more robust community. So we have a community through Zendesk, through like our um, support and ticketing software. But really what we found through talking to our customers and having them all in one room together was that many of them they were so positive about that experience of saying like, wow, I'm learning so much just by hearing from these other customers. And, what I really want is I'd love if there was a place where I could connect more in a more meaningful way with other customers in an ongoing way, or if I have a question and it's less about even just about our product and how they're using it and more about the industry and kind of overcoming different challenges in supply chain or e-commerce and different things like that. And so that's something that we are kind of relaunching our community in a much broader way to where it's less about our product and not just being kind of support focused or tactical in that way, and more about kind of creating a place for customers to come together. So that's something that is a new initiative that came directly from our customer feedback.
That's awesome.
But honestly, a lot of our product is shaped from our customers. So when we launch new products, so much of that is coming directly from our customers saying, hey, does this exist? Is this something that you can help with? We just launched something called Cin7 Capital, which is like an embedded invoice financing for our customers that are based in the US. And so something like that, we had customers that were asking us, hey, do you guys have preferred vendors? Do you have and they're asking us about these different things because it's something that matters to their business. And as we researched, it was something that didn't make sense for us necessarily to build ourselves, but we were able to partner with somebody and be able to bring that directly into our software so that they can have a place that they can get everything that they need.
That's awesome. I love it. What do you think is the future of customers?
Oh gosh. I mean, it is evolving at such a fast rate. I've done a number of podcasts over the last year or so, and I feel like every time my answer continues to evolve because a lot of what I've been saying either is already happening or it's adjusting so fast that kind of my answer continues to adjust. But I think at least what I've seen with working with a couple companies, um, I think the digital customer experience and kind of taking these more scaled approaches, we're going to start to see more and more and more. When digital CS was first launched, or first kind of, I guess, at least had a name, it's not necessarily an entirely new concept, but I think in the last couple of years, as it gained more and more popularity and started to become its own segment, a lot of people viewed it as something that was more so for smaller customers, lower MRR, ARR customers in a way to, hey, how can we as a company spend a little bit less on servicing these customers that aren't spending as much with us? And that's kind of the not necessarily obviously what they would tell those people, but it was more so their way of like, hey, how can we pull together our customers? And, instead of them having a named CSM, they have a group of people and they kind of go through kind of different ticketing or queuing type methodologies. And a lot of what it's evolved to is that as people have created digital and scaled approaches, and you see more and more customer webinars and events and communities and places where customers can come together, things like that, we've seen so much benefit from it that now it's like it's become a no-brainer of, hey, this isn't just for certain segments of customers. Getting resources, having things be more self-service or having different options for how people can interact with your customer success team, it's for everyone. And it's something that truly so many larger companies, especially, I mean, if I've had companies or customers that we've worked with that have thousands of users, a CSM isn't meeting with thousands of users. They're still only meeting with a handful of champions or kind of leaders. And so with that, by leveraging kind of scaled approaches, digital resources, really building out a really robust academy and content like that, allows, even for the largest customers, allows for them to get the support that they need throughout their entire organization. And so I think that's been really cool to start to see that evolution, but I think that's going to happen even more, especially with AI and all the different tooling that we have. I feel like the job continues to evolve of what a CSM does. And so for my team, it's really a balance. I have some people that are really, really technical, really good with our product that we are leveraging more and more for helping support our customers that need that. But many of them are also starting to specialize into roles where they're leading the webinars, they're helping build out the content and campaigns and all of that, because I want to take my absolute best people and I want to put them on the stage. I want to get them more access to our customers. And so it's just a little bit of a different way of thinking versus saying, hey, my best people, I want to keep, I want to take them from being SMB to mid-market to enterprise. And that like enterprise CSM, I think used to be kind of the pedestal of a CSM role where you looked at those as like, wow, you're doing it. You must be the best. Now I'm kind of taking a lot of my best people and saying, hey, I want to scale you. I want to take what you're doing and get more of our customers
Great.
access versus less customers access to you.
That makes a lot of sense. This is my last question for you. I know you have a hard stop. What else should we know about you, and how can we follow your career?
So my career continues to evolve. In the last couple of years, I really started posting and getting more active in the CS community. I have learned so much from other people. And so that was something that I wanted to start kind of sharing along with my journey, because why wait until you're chief customer officer to start sharing? I think there's a lot of people that are going through similar kind of learning motions as me. And so I've really started working out loud more and sharing more and more there. So definitely can find me on LinkedIn. Would love to connect with people. I do spend a decent amount of time meeting with different people in the community. So don't be afraid to reach out to me or ask questions. That's one of my favorite things to do, is be able to kind of learn from other leaders or people in the space, as well as help other people in the space. So LinkedIn's a great place for that. But yeah, I'll continue to post and you'll see me more and more there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. See ya.